Welcome to Mediumship Sparks. I'm Noelle Dean, intuitive medium, licensed therapist, and your host. I am endlessly amazed by how Spirit reaches out to us, supports us, and loves us, sometimes in the most surprising and unexpected ways. If, like me, you're drawn to those sparks of insight that bring you greater peace, healing, flow, and just make everything make more sense, whether you're finding us for the first time or we have already shared this space, I'm so happy you're here. Let's dig in. Hello, and welcome to Mediumship Sparks, the next chapter. I'm Noelle Dean. My disclaimer: the information presented on the podcast is educational in nature and is provided only as general information and is not medical or psychological advice, nor is it a substitute for seeking licensed healthcare services. I'm going to give us all a bit of a trigger warning, empath alert, because I want to laugh at myself. I've been accused of being death averse, like not wanting to talk about how people pass, or whether it's like natural causes or in tragic, violent ways. And that's so true. I want to focus normally related to mediumship on the positives of being able to stay connected, still being able to engage in a relationship with someone that we love, even though they're not in a body anymore. But I just started listening to a podcast I didn't even know existed. I saw something about it on Instagram, and it is Anderson Cooper's podcast called All There Is. And he started recording after his mom passed. And apparently they had a very long and connected relationship. And so I'm on like episode 3 and just sitting in like the pain of grief. Not my own pain, but the idea of collective pain around grief. And if you've listened to this season of the podcast, you heard that my sister passed last year. And my in-laws and an aunt that I was really close with also passed about 5 years ago, all 3 of them within 11 days of each other. Holy crap, that was a lot to process. And I wanted to stay death averse when it first happened. I remember one day my husband was out of town, and it was the first day very soon after the 3 passings that I just laid in bed and let myself feel whatever there was to feel. I could barely get out of bed. I got scared. I was like paralyzed. It was shocking and terrible. I got the message I'm supposed to write 6 or 7 books. So when a big idea comes to me, it strikes me like, oh, this is a book. The idea came to me very arrogantly a couple of years ago that felt like, this is a book about how to grieve like a medium, because it's easy. I can still talk to these people. They come and visit, because I have had that experience like with both of my in-laws and my aunt and other relatives that passed a lot longer ago. The thing is, we can't escape the actual grief of things. As much as I can celebrate the reconnection I've had with my sister, and doing this podcast, interviewing her, I felt really helped. I have felt changed in how I relate to the idea of her since, which I'm so grateful for, because I like to lightheartedly share with people that I have a better relationship with her now in some ways than maybe ever, or certainly for the last probably 20, 30 years. It doesn't take away from the things that are no longer possible, like physically spending time together, looking in each other's eyes, holding each other, sharing a meal, cooking together, just spending time together, talking on the phone about nothing over and over, just enjoying that relationship the way that it was. It's a better relationship now, right? But it's different. And there's no bypassing the grief part. I hope there would be, but it doesn't work that way. I was going to record about something very different today, but I felt as soon as I sat down in my chair, I could just feel the emotion, and I just wanted to go with it and share the vulnerability with you, because you may also be someone who wants to be a little death averse and focus on the positives, or the blessing of that person in your life, or maybe the relief that they passed. Wherever you're at with it, it's fine. I certainly feel very aware that for any emotions that we avoid or feelings that we avoid, they have a tendency to come back around and sometimes slap us a bit in the face because we have to feel. There's so much mischief and avoidance and distraction that we would have to engage in, almost like you're constantly dancing to try to avoid feeling. And the truth is that even though the feeling part can feel literally painful, like even in your, not even just in your head, in your body, it can feel quite consuming. But avoiding it isn't healthy for us at all. And I'm sure you know that. I know that too, but doesn't mean I don't want to do it. Doesn't mean I'd rather feel those things. But I do want to feel good about the idea that at least for my sister's passing, and maybe because it was very surprising, I only knew 3 days before she passed that she was even very ill. I thought she was fine. I assumed. I really didn't know. I think the shock really adds to the emotional part of it and the lack of closure when you're sitting in the grief process, like when you're really feeling the heaviness of grief. It's really hard to feel connection to somebody in spirit because their energy can feel very subtle when you're open and at your normal baseline. So when you've got heaviness in you or around you or in your thoughts and feelings, it's hard for them to get through that. And I bet that's probably the time most people would feel maybe the most desperate to want to have a sense of that person being. I'm a trained medium, and I struggled with that for a time when my sister passed. And I only bring up being a trained medium because at this point, I think connecting with those on the other side feels pretty natural, and there's an ease to it in a lot of ways. So even something that feels as natural to me as that was hard because the sadness was overwhelming. So grieving like a medium is just grieving like anybody, but maybe knowing, hopefully, and I want to share this with you, the knowing that when people cross, they're not suffering, they're free. They want to support us, so they hang around. And they hang around because they love us. They want to see what's going on. Somebody's making a joke, they're nosy. That kind of feels like my sister's here now. And maybe it's projection to want to worry about them. Like my mother has said, even though I think she knows that when you cross, all of your earthly concerns stay here. They don't go with you onto the other side. I feel like you're cleansed of everything. There's work to do to release things and heal from this experience. But my mother will say things like, "Oh, is she okay?" And I want to shake her a little bit. Like, why you even ask? Of course she's okay. She's fine. I don't want to be impatient about it. That's crappy. It's her daughter. But it feels the term coming to mind is an uninformed question. That sounds judgy, but that's what's coming to me. So I'm going to go with that. I've watched many videos of like spectacular mediumship, like Tyler Henry or Teresa Caputo or lots of other people. And every loved one that comes through for somebody who's in their audience always reflects that they're fine. So yours can't be different and mine can't be different. I have never worried that my sister isn't okay now that she's out of her body. I've been upset that I wasn't there to support her before she left because I assume she must have been really scared. But she was intuitive and she did share in one of the episodes that she did for 6 or so months. She experienced our family around her in spirit when she was still here, just probably softening that for her because I could imagine her being a bit of a scaredy cat about all of it. My only sense of her since she's been on the other side in the times that we've connected is that she is joyful, even a bit sassy, I would say, and that she really is fine. She really is hanging out with family members. I have even witnessed the change in her energy since she first crossed, where when we first connected, I could feel the prickliness of it, and I didn't feel quite safe. I wasn't sure how she was going to interact with me, and I wasn't really comfortable with it, honestly. But from the very beginning, I sensed her with one of our grandmothers. And then every other time since, except after we recorded that podcast, she was always with somebody else. She was with our father. She was with our other grandmother, mostly with our maternal grandmother. And maybe now I feel like if she shows up like now, I don't have a nervousness. So they do let go of stuff. I don't think it's immediate, but I think with her, it's been pretty quick. And with your loved one, it depends, right? You may have a sense of them, and I hope that you do. I hope you feel them around you. And you might feel let down if they're not coming into your dreams or there are things you're not experiencing, but they are mindful, genuinely, about your grief process and what they think will support you in that process. So if they feel like if they come around a lot, it will keep you from being able to, I don't want to say move on, but that's a common term and that's what's coming to mind, but figure out how to get out of the intense grief onto the next stage. How about we just say it that way? And they may feel like, and you may feel like, if their energy is around me all the time, how can I let go of the intense state of grief? We all respond differently. And I just want to encourage you to try to find some peace for yourself around the losses in your life. There's a lot of things that fit into that category. It could be a loss of a relationship, doesn't even have to be somebody's passing. Or, sorry, I'm feeling very emotional right now. Or a pet. I just found a little lump on my cat and I'm going to take her into the vet. And I had this moment on my walk today of anticipating how painful it will feel whenever it is that she does leave. Because we had two really loving cats, and her brother passed a few years ago, and she and I have gotten very close and connected in a way that I never would have expected. And I just love it so much. And I do think about people leaving, cats leaving pretty often, maybe too much. That's part of my awareness. Anyway, if you're feeling like your loved one left, however long ago or short ago that was, and you don't experience them, or you don't think that you do, try on that they may be a few steps back and you're just not feeling them because they're trying to have you not, because they may think it's not for your highest good right now, but doesn't mean they're not around. I had this connection with my grandfather, one of our first like conversations since he passed, maybe about 2 years ago. And I asked him, like, where have you been? I haven't felt you like at all. And what I got back from him was something along the lines of that he has really intense energy and he didn't want to damage me. So he has stayed back, although he's been around. That was surprising, but that seems on brand of something he would actually say. When I've heard people say, especially when young people leave their bodies, well, now they're our guardian angel, or now they're one of our angels. And it used to strike me as something people would say to try not to feel too sad. Like now they're watching over us. Isn't that beautiful? But I didn't really think that was true. But now I really do. I really do. Just because you don't feel them doesn't mean they're not there. I'm pretty sensitive to energy. I didn't feel my grandfather. Actually, I still don't. But he does show up once in a while. See, I don't even know how often because I can't feel him. But I trust in that he's around. And I don't want to be attached to he needs to be around. Like he's got to be watching over me, or just as I'm saying that, that feels weird. Do I think he should be babysitting me or something? No, I really don't. I feel really grateful that I have a knowing, like a deeply ingrained knowing that they are never that far away. Like they are reachable. They are a thought away, really. our loved ones, yours and mine, not just mine, not just yours. It's not just a phrase. It's not just a platitude to make us feel better. Like I've experienced it. And I bet you've had your moments too. I mentioned earlier about the swirling on the back of my head, and I have a few physical things that come to me that let me know somebody's here with me. I have a little, also a swirl on the bottom of my left shoulder blade, random spot. And there are other things, like I get chills in certain areas. I can't always tell exactly who it is based on that feeling. I like songs better for that. But these are calling cards. That's an old saying, I think. Here's my calling card and I'll get in touch kind of thing. But there are calling cards that are available to let us know when people are around us who've crossed. And maybe notice what you feel and then who's the first person you think of. Maybe the second. The first might be the hopeful. Oh, I hope it's so and it might be that person. But you could ask. I do that all the time. I have a video series on my YouTube channel of using your body as a pendulum, and I'll ask who that is. And if that's not the person, I'll get a no. You have to not be attached to it being like the one person that you're hoping it is, because then you might skew the answer. But that's an easy way to find out who's there. Even if you don't feel something, but you just have a sense, ask. You have nothing to lose by asking. Don't creep yourself out. Don't ask about negative entities being around you. It's likely not that anyway. Don't let it get weird. Then you're going to scare yourself. It's normal for people to leave their bodies. All of us are going to. And treating it like it's horribly tragic doesn't mean that the occurrence of it isn't, but the inevitability of it is real. Just as I say that, my cat walks in. So it does feel a bit, and she's scratching, contrived to say, let's appreciate everybody every moment, and we should do the best we can, just about life in general. I'm just sitting here in my office and looking around at the things I've put up, pictures and feathers. And I even want to take a moment to embrace all of this because it's also temporary. It all is. And I don't think we're going to be heartbroken when we're on the other side. We're going to have a state of peace around us and within us. And it'll be beautiful. And then we'll be reunited, I believe, even if it's brief, with those that we love that love us on the other side. And we could look forward to that. Like it's not permanent that we're separated. I also just want you to know it's possible to maintain that connection. You don't have to be a medium. You don't have to go to a medium. I'm sure you're intuitive at the very least, if not more than that. And you could train yourself. You could develop more skills. I started out not this. I've just spent a long time working at this, just like you have at the things you've been working at. I just am getting a visual of somebody who's a writer, who's just typing away. And they just get better and better. It gets smoother and easier as you do it. And this is that same kind of thing. Even if you just have one person, you just don't want to live without while you're waiting to join them on the other side. Talk to them. See what you can do to listen. Or just feel them. That's plenty, isn't it? You don't need words. Just like in person, sometimes you just feel that person's energy and you just feel good in it. And this could be that same kind of thing. My grandmother is here and she's sharing that when somebody passes, it can be easy to focus on all the negative or all the positive. And she's just encouraging to have a more balanced view because there's always good and bad. And she's saying, and the best of it is when you come along for the ride for the rest of your life with them and knowing that they accompany you. I couldn't agree more. Good point, Grandma. She's the one who oversold the podcast in my intro. Anyway, if you're dealing with grief, I just want you to feel like I'm sitting next to you and you're not alone. And it's okay. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel grief We just don't want to get stuck here, because wasting the time that we have while we're still here, just feeling bad, that sucks. And I wouldn't wish that for you at all. And just to remind you, there's lots of resources related to grief. It's such a common thing. There are support groups, there are therapists, and even probably meetups where people just talk about it. Hospice offers a lot of support groups like that as well. If you're getting stuck in there, please seek out some extra support. It could just be a friend who helps you lift yourself. Just know you're not alone. I'm here for you if there's anything that you need related to mediumship, if that feels right to you. But you don't need me or anybody else. You don't. To feel connected to your loved ones and to find peace within your own heart. I believe in you. And this is a normal thing, even if it sucks and it's freaking painful. And I know you can get through the hardest of it. And then imagine all the joy you'll also be able to feel when you're on the other side of that hump. It'll be worth it. It just feels hard sometimes. And that is life, right? Anyway. And I think the thing about being death averse is that I feel a lot more compelled to go towards the positive part about us still being able to connect and communicate with our loved ones. The other parts can be depressing, but I want to be okay with being with all of it. There's no reason to hide, just like for you. Anyway, I hope this wasn't too somber for you. It was a little for me, but it felt like the right thing to share. And I hope maybe you feel a little less alone or something helpful. So you take care of yourself, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for spending this time with me on Mediumship Sparks. I truly believe that with mediumship, the only real limit is our imagination. If this podcast speaks to you, please rate and subscribe. If it could be useful to someone you care about, please share it. If you're interested in a reading or getting some support to navigate the spiritual path you're on or the one you want to be on, I offer a free consultation to discuss what you're looking for and how I can help. Learn more about my readings and classes at connectingwithnoelle.com. Subscribe on YouTube, Connecting with Noelle, for helpful videos and video podcast episodes. Take good care of yourself, and I look forward to being with you again soon.